Let's take a look now at today's top stories. Queensland's border will reopen next Monday, December 13, as the Sunshine State prepares to hit its 80% vaccination target this week. That's 4 days earlier than scheduled. And while fully vaccinated domestic arrivals must now get a day 5 test, they won't need to isolate while they wait for the result.
Never did I think that we would be in such a good position to not have had widespread community transmission and opening up with 80% double vaccinated.
It's still pretty confusing. You've got to get a test 72 hours before you go so you can get in, and then you've got to do this test on day 5. I don't know what the purpose of the day 5 thing is if you're not waiting until you get a negative result.
Well, because you might turn positive later.
And then what are they going to do? Lock you up? So who's going to go to Queensland based on the fact that you might end up getting locked up anyway?
I reckon thousands and thousands of people.
Really?
Never underestimate
Isn't it just
how
too
desperate
complicated?
people are to get into Queensland.
I don't think it's hard to go get a test before.
Yeah.
It's not.
Try going to South Australia. That's even more complicated.
Did you just change the subject to another state?
No, I'm happy.
Yeah, because he thought he was losing that argument.
How did you know that?
I've known you for a long time, Steve.
Can I just say, I'm quietly impressed at this. Like, I was really
Which
impressed
bit?
that South Australia were prepared to make a deliberate decision to abandon COVID zero and go, right, we've got to call this at some point. And the Queensland went early. I wouldn't have expected they'd go early. I mean, we were thinking, will they go before Christmas?
Yeah.
And the fact they've gone early, they stuck to it. They said, we'll hit 80, we'll do it. And they've actually gone and done that.
They're politicians. They're reading the room.
Yeah,
reckon
but
that.
if they are worried about it, the room will change very quickly. Right?
Yeah, that's true. All right, back to the news now. And the man accused of kidnapping 4-year-old Cleo Smith in October has fronted court again in Carnarvon. Appearing briefly via video link, Terence Kelly's case was adjourned until January. The 36-year-old remains behind bars. His family members say they fear for his safety in prison.
I heard he got bashed in there. And one of the boys that got hold of him in the cell.
Ousted Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been jailed for 4 years. The country's military junta has convicted her of inciting public unrest and breaching coronavirus restrictions. The 76-year-old Nobel Peace Laureate was arrested during the February coup. She's facing 100 years in prison if she's found guilty of other charges. And Cricket Australia has decided the 5th Ashes Test won't be played in Perth. The new host venue is yet to be confirmed, and WA's attempts to steal the 2nd Test from Adelaide aren't looking good. The idea was players could fly straight in from Brisbane without having to quarantine, but South Australia's knocked that idea for 6.
Western Australia made themselves the 12th man. Now they're complaining about not being able to get onto the Oval. So, look, the reality is we are keeping the 2nd Test here in Adelaide.
Don't you hate those silly cricket analogies when they come up with that stuff? I mean, good on Adelaide. They should not lose that Test match.
There's more news
No,
here,
Steve had really important stuff. I'm happy to wait.
Keep going.
I'll finish. Thank you, Steve. As for the WA Cricket Association...
Welcome back.
Thank you. Chief Exec Christina Matthews says it's disappointing, but it's just the circumstances.
If the penalty we get for living a free life virtually for the last 2 years is losing a test match, I don't think we've got a lot to complain about.
Over to you, Waleed.
It was a Rema Safer prize. He has started to get the hang of the show recently.
Sorry.
Do you agree with it?
Yes,
Do you think a test is the price they'd be happy to pay for?
I don't think that the West Australian public are going to be very happy, but there's no alternative. And you can't pinch the Adelaide Test. There's people already booked to go there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we heard you say that before when you shouldn't have been talking.
But now we're actually listening.